Ask yourself, am I allowed to make mistakes? And maybe cognitively you're thinking yes, but actually, deep down the feeling is, well, no, I'm not allowed to make mistakes. And that's how many of us go through life thinking we have to be perfect. So let me tell you here and now that you are allowed to make mistakes. It's normal, it's human, and we can apply this kind of am I allowed experiment to lots of areas in life. So, am I allowed to let people down? Am I allowed to have a bad day? Am I allowed to lose my temper? Am I allowed to eat badly? Am I allowed to sleep in? You may or may not want to do any of these things, but we often find ourselves in a position where we're like, yeah, but I'm not allowed to do any of this. Or if I do this, then I'm somehow a kind of failure or a less of a person, rather than just a normal human person who is imperfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. That's being what human is. And you might say, okay, well that's fine if I'm letting myself down, but I can't let other people down. It's not okay for me to be grumpy and to have a bad day and be snappy and maybe lose my temper, because that affects other people. And you're right, it does affect other people. But again, like, what kind of standard are we holding ourselves to? Like, if we're driving everyone else in our lives away by constantly being snappy, that's one thing. But the reality is that we're all going to have bad days, we're all going to feel bad tempered, we're all going to feel snappy. And when we try and hold ourselves to this perfect standard, we end up failing. But if we can develop some self compassion and say, you know what, I'm allowed to have bad days, I'm allowed to be snappy, I'm allowed to let people down, when I have no other option, or when it's just too hard that day. If we can develop that self compassion, then it's a lot easier to go on with life. It's a lot easier to find the satisfaction, the contentment in life. And you absolutely are allowed to do all of these things, because you're human, I'm human, we're all human, and I'm proud of you for doing the best you can.